Welcome to 11.2, where we are doing operations with radical expressions. So now that you know how to simplify radical expressions, we're going to go over how to do adding, subtracting, multiply, and multiplying. So the first example, I'm going to start out nice and easy. We're going to add 4 radical 3 plus 6 radical 3 minus 5 radical 3. And when we're adding and subtracting radicals, it's just like as if you were working with variables. In other words, all of the radicals, just think of them as a variable. So in the first one, it's like I would have, if I had 4a plus 6a minus 5a, then because they're all like terms, I can combine them and I would get 10a minus 5a, which is 5a. So I'm going to do the same thing, but do it with radicals. And because in this problem I have all the same radical 3, then I can combine 4 radical 3 plus 6 radical 3 and get 10 radical 3, and then subtract 5 radical 3 and get 5 radical 3 as my answer. So that was because they're all the same radical. We can add them and subtract them, just like with a variable. Now, in the second example, I'm going to put some different radicals. So 12 radical 5 plus 3 radical 7 plus 6 radical 7 minus 8 radical 5. So just like we are combining like terms, I'm going to combine 12 radical 5 minus 8 radical 5. And I would get 4 radical 5. And then I'm going to combine 3 radical 7 plus 6 radical 7 and get 9 radical 7. And now I have 2 different radicals that I can't combine. I have to leave my answer just like this. It's almost as if I would have 4x plus 9y as an answer, where you would just leave that. So this is the answer to that second problem. So again, we're just combining the radicals as if they were variables. Now, in the next example, I'm going to have to simplify radicals in order to combine them. So I have 2 radical 20 plus 3 rad 45 plus rad 180. So in this problem, I have to first simplify the radicals and then see if there's anything I can combine. So in the first one, I've got 2, and I'm going to change radical 20 to radical 4 times radical 5, which means I have 2 times rad 5, which gives me 4 radical 5. The second one, I have 3, and I'm going to change 45 to radical 9 times radical 5, which means I have 3 times radical 5, which is 9, and so that's a plus 9 radical 5. And then I have 180, which I'm going to separate to rad 9 times rad 20. Rad 9 is just plain 3. 20 is 4 radical 4 times radical 5. This now gives me 3 times 2 times radical 5, which is 6 radical 5. And so in this problem, all the radicals now ended up the same, so we can combine 4 plus 9 is 13, and then plus 6 will give us 19 radical 5. And that will be our answer. That's the most simplified answer. In the next one, we're going to do some problems that are multiplying. So in this one, I'm going to do 4 radical 5 minus 2 radical 3. And that looks like a binomial that I'm going to multiply by another binomial. It's not really a binomial, but we're going to treat them as if they are. So this is a foiling problem. So because I have two things in the first parentheses and two in the second, I'm going to treat it just like I would FOIL. So first I'm going to go, this one, 4 rad 5 times 3 rad 6. And let me just write that part out. 4 rad 5 times 3 rad 6 means that you're going to multiply what's on the outside, which is 12, and then you're going to multiply what's on the inside, which is 30. And leave it just like that. Then I'm going to multiply 4 rad 5 times negative rad 10. So let me write that part out. 4 rad 5 times negative rad, oops, wrote it wrong. 4 rad 5 times negative rad 10. So that would give me negative 4 rad 50. Okay, now I have to distribute the second number. So I'm distributing negative 2 rad 3 times 3 rad 6. It's going to give me negative 6 rad 18. And then the last one, negative 2 rad 3 times negative rad 10 is going to give me positive 2 rad 30. Now, I have to see if there's any of these that I can simplify. Rad 30, I can't, so I'm just going to leave 12 rad 30. Minus 4 rad 50, I'm going to change rad 50 to rad 25 times rad 2, which will be minus 4 times 5 times rad 2, which gives me negative 20 rad 2. Minus 6 rad 18, I will change to rad 9 times rad 2. So that's minus 6 times 3 times rad 2, which gives me minus 18 rad 2. And then the last one I can't break down at all, so I just put plus 2 rad 30. Now I'm going to combine the like terms. 12 rad 30 plus 2 rad 30, did I do this right? Yep, is 14 rad 30. And then negative 20 rad 2 minus 18 rad 2 is negative 38 rad 2. And that's my final answer. And don't worry, they don't get any harder than this one. That's about the hardest problem you'll have in this section. So let's do a couple more. Number 4. Is this the fourth? Actually, that's number 5. Number 5, we have 3 rad 5 plus 5 rad 6 plus 3 rad 20. So the only thing I could break down here, I'm going to leave 3 rad 5. I'm going to leave 5 rad 6, but I can break down rad 20. So that's 3 times rad 4 times rad 5, which is 3 times 2 times rad 5, which is plus 6 rad 5. Then I'm going to combine the like terms, which is 3 rad 5 plus 6 rad 5. 9 rad 5 plus 5 rad 6. That's the final answer for number 5. Number 6. This is going to be rad 2 times in parentheses rad 8 plus 4 rad 3. This you should recognize as a distributing problem. I'm going to distribute. So you're multiplying when you distribute. I'll distribute here and here. So when I'm distributing, rad 2 times rad 8 is rad 16. Rad 2 times 4 rad 3 is 4 rad 6. Now I simplify. Rad Oh, I'm sorry. Made a mistake. This was rad 16 in here. 2 times 8 is 16. Rad 16 is a perfect square. It equals just plain 4. Plus 4 rad 6. These are not like terms. They can't be combined. So you leave it like this. Next problem, number 7. I'm going to have one more foiling problem. 4 plus rad 5 times 3 plus rad 5. It's a little bit easier than the first one. So when I distribute, I'm going to have 4 times 3 is 12 plus 4 rad 5. Then I'm going to distribute inside the second one. So that will give me plus 3 rad 5 plus rad 25. And I'm going to combine the like terms. That gives me plus 7 rad 5. And rad 25 is a perfect square. It equals just plain 5. Now I can add the 12 plus the 5 to give me 17 plus 7 rad 5. They cannot be combined. That's your answer. Okay, now you are going to go to your book on page 844. Make sure you're on the middle of the page, which is section 11.2. And you're doing numbers 1, 3, 10, 22, and 27. So this is on the video. I'll know if you didn't get to the end of the video and decided not to do them. It's also on my essay. Go ahead and do those problems now, and we will check them in class.